Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel Trading Secrets. This channel is for entertainment purposes only. For those of you who do not know, my name is Ali. I have over 20 years experience teaching accounting, economics, business and law. Through this channel I'll be providing some stock analysis, quick update on the $1 Million Challenge. So if anybody's not aware of this is a genuine investment of $1,000 to a return of $1 million over a period of 3 years using a strategy called compound return investing. So the objective is try to get 201 trades, each with an average return of 3.5%. Is not 201 consecutive trades. We do take into account losses. So for further details about how to join us for little as $9 a month, information is available in the description below. In the previous video we looked at MMTLP and also MMAT in terms of a potential calculator and looking at $1 million double squeeze. This is a calculator that I shared, so for an in-depth explanation of how this potentially could work, details are in the previous video. So before we make a start on today's video, quick shout out here to Uncle Luigi who shared here a post here, and he stated he bought a few more shares today and he is holding strong, and he's also using the calculator, and his top selling price for MMTLP is $350, and he sees this as a potential win-win situation. So in today's video we're going to be looking at an update with regard to FUD, and I'm going to be sharing with you some details with regard to the FUDSTERS being in serious trouble. So before we do that, let's have a quick look at the market news. So quick headline here, overall markets are still a little bit jittery, and they have ended a little bit lower today, and in anticipation of the Fed policy, and the focus for now is going to be looking at the jobs data. So overall the S&P 500 was down about 0.4%, but hopefully if we get good news with this jobs data, the markets can show a stronger momentum back upwards and some recovery. So before looking at an update on the FUDSTERS, we're going to have a quick start by having a look at the chart for MMTLP for close of play today, and at time of editing it was up just close to 4%, up 3.8% at $7.11. So we did close this strong resistance at $7, so good news, and we are on a significant amount of consecutive green days. I think we're probably in excess of 10 right now. So in terms of stock tweaks, the good news here at time of editing, we were also number 3 on trending. So if you can see here, some of the other stocks on the list also include Amazon, Sophie, B&B, but Metamaterials is the one that is performing quite well, number 3. And in terms of the borrowing data right now at time of editing, not many shares left to borrow for the shorts. They're not getting an expensive deal, so I don't know what they're waiting for. There's 50,000 shares available there, so go ahead and do what you want to do. And finally, I'd like to give a shout out here to Terry with an excellent video on also a potential double squeeze with MMAT and MMTLP, so go ahead and check that video out. I'm now going to make a start on looking at the 4 FUDSTERs who are currently in crisis. The first FUDSTER is a FUDSTER that is new to the channel, so I'm going to name this FUDSTER JB. So let's have a look at the post from JB. So excuse, first of all, before we look at the post, apologies for any language, but these are being referred to as quotations from JB, who is currently, I believe, in crisis. So let's have a look at FUDSTER by the name of JB. So she stated here, first of all, Nextbridge is nothing. It's a private company on paper that George has pulled out of his hold. They have no money and no assets. I'm not sure how you pull a company out of the hole, but that's what she's saying. If they want Torch assets, they give away the Torch shareholders. They must put forth an offer to buy those assets just like any other company would have to do. I do not give a rat's ass what lie George is spouting. This time he does not have any legal right to the Torch assets. I wasn't aware that George was after the assets for himself, but that's what this FUDSTER certainly seems to think. In fact, he's managing these assets in direct violation of the terms of the merger, which stated the assets would be managed by a third party, not a non-invested management company. So this FUDSTER is losing the plot. This FUDSTER is clearly not in touch with reality. What we can also see, what the FUDSTER is saying is, why you people think George has any right or legal path to steal your property? Well, we don't, and we never said that, so why are you thinking we're thinking that? I'm not sure. And make it his privately held company is insanity. So I don't think it's us with insanity, it may be you with a little bit of insanity here. This is just common sense. I think that is one of the most difficult things that a lot of people do have, and that is common sense. So JB, it is something difficult for you to have common sense, so good luck with getting common sense. So what JB has also stated here, if NextBridge want our shares, NextBridge has to buy them just like anybody else. What the hell are you talking about? So I think the FUDSTER has admitted that she was in crisis, so let's have a look at a follow-up for her earlier post that we just shared. And the FUDSTER by the name of JB has stated here, I apologise for losing my cool earlier, just exhausted, angry about pretty much everything these days, pissed off after figuring out my tax liability has me seeing red, being a Democrat living in Florida with the election coming up. Then all this bullshit here that has been stupid childish shit my husband had to pull last night being Halloween. So she spelled Halloween with the triple S. Screen machine going off in the closet at 2 a.m. And of course my period starts this morning to put the cherry on top. So I don't know if there's a period with regard to a class there. And it's time for a tequila. So obviously this FUDSTER is having some severe difficulties here. So and finally, a follow-up to these issues that this FUDSTER in crisis is going through. She stated here, after screaming at her husband for 2 hours, he took out of here at 4 a.m, went fishing and said he would be back in a few days to cool down. And that's why she loves him, and she loves him because he's a coward. And the second FUDSTER is by the name of the White Puma. So let's have a look at the White Puma and why the White Puma is in crisis. So first of all, shout out here to Sean, who stated here, there is a bear on StockTwix and who's agreed to eat a dog turd with a knife and fork if MMTLP ever goes over $7. And this is something that this FUDSTER stated when it came back down to close to $3.40, and he's going to be watching out and following on in terms of what happens. So what the FUDSTER stated here, he says, I will do it. So the challenge was, if this never reaches $7 again on camera, I must eat a dog turd off a plate with knife and fork. If it passes $7 in any capacity, then you must eat dog turd off a plate with a knife and fork, any taker. So as you know, today it did hit in excess of $7. So let's have a look at an update for this. And we can see in terms of the White Puma at the bottom, credit to the White Puma. The White Puma has now said in response to the post, it hit $7.10 today, it's time to pay up, and the bears said it would never reach $7 again. So this is a deal, Puma accepted. Let the turd eating commence. If they make any comments, simply reply with this image. So the credit to the White Puma said, I'll do it, and I'll eat the dog turd. So I want to see the proof in the pudding. So if anybody knows who the White Puma is, please remind them to eat the dog turd. And the next FUDSTER in crisis is by the name of Bob GKN. So first of all, shout out here to G34, who's asked 3 very simple questions, and let's see if this FUDSTER can reply. So the questions are, first of all, are individual investors allowed to own private shares in a private company? That's the first question. Number 2, if a company does not have shares trading on a public platform, is it private or a publicly traded company? It's a very simple question there. And third question, George stated in the company ER that NextBridge will remain private. Was George lying? So three simple, very simple questions. Let's see if FUDSTER number 3 can answer these questions. The first question, are individual investors allowed to own shares in a private company? So first of all, if it's not an individual investor holding shares in a private company, who is it? I mean, it's not, you know, cows, monkeys or bananas. It is individuals. Who else is going to own shares in a private company? It's not Martians, it's not aliens. So let's have a look at the response from FUDSTER number 3. Retail shareholders per the SEC cannot hold shares in a private company. Well, if retail shareholders can't hold shares in the SEC, then the whole thing here, everybody's wasting our time. So is that what you're saying? We're not going to get shares in NextBridge. I think you're also living on cloud cuckoo land. Number 2, if a company does not have shares trading on a public platform, is it private or public traded? Question. So the response here, he says, does not apply to the spin-off and not an established company. I am just surprised you do not know the difference. So it looks like the FUDSTER is avoiding the question and saying it does not apply. So I think the FUDSTER is also avoiding a straight answer to a straight question. And obviously the question is, company does not have shares trading on a public platform. Is it private or is it public? So the key answer there is, if it's not trading on a public platform, then obviously it's private, but obviously the FUDSTER doesn't want to admit that. And finally, question number 3, with regard to what George said, is it going to remain private, and was George lying? So he's saying here, you're taking George out of context. How are you making out with Berda? Can't get a private answer, can you? So the company have communicated this. You need to look at in the S1. You need to look at comments from John Berda, and George will confirm this as well. So we all know NextBridge is going to be private, and anybody who's arguing against that is fighting a very losing battle. So goodbye, Bob GKN. And the final FUDSTER I'm going to feature that is currently a FUDSTER in crisis, and that is the Alpha Genius, who is now eating his words. And remember, this is a FUDSTER who released a video saying he sold at 585 and he may consider re-entering. So this is a FUDSTER who stated the assets have got no value. He talked about the market cap of MMTLP. He referred to MMTLP as a company. So this is a person, obviously the followers will have cashed out at 585 if in terms of his guide price. So this is also a FUDSTER that will be chasing, but now he's eating his words. Finally, I'd like to finish off by giving a shout out to our weekly watches. Just some of the stocks that we called out included Apple. So we expected Apple to beat earnings and make a good recovery. So I think that was positive. I'm sure you know that Amazon didn't do well and Facebook did not do well, but Apple did do well. So congratulations to everybody who managed to catch the dip on Apple. We also called out AGLE as a high risk bio stock, and currently today that was up close to 8%. And over the previous 5 days, it's up close to 126%. So congratulations to everybody in on that one as well. We have called out a number of other stocks, including MRO and also DBN, that are expected to have good earnings. So those are also stocks that are doing well. Not all stock calls are successful, but these are some of the good calls so far. Thank you very much for watching. Please stay tuned.